regard to Project Blue Book.
Right, the official statement.
Okay, and so this says, since the termination of Project Blue Book, no evidence has been presented to indicate that further investigation of UFOs by the Air Force is warranted. Terminated? Well, was the program really terminated? That's my question.
Absolutely. And if it was, what took its place?
Well, yes, the Air Force isn't suddenly going to stop being interested in uncorrelated targets in its airspace.
Right, absolutely. And the second document I really want you to weigh in on. Does it make sense?
Wow, 12,618 sightings, that's a lot. And 701 of them remained completely unidentified. That's a staggering amount. These are the cases that were properly investigated, interviewed witnesses, radar tapes were looked at, and still no answers found. Wait a minute, here, look, here it is. At the end of the program, the unknowns drop. They go from 32 to 19 to 3 and 1. I smell a rat. They've cooked the books. Can't pull the plug on the program if you've still got a high number of unknowns. So they clearly push those cases out of the unidentified column and into the cases that are explained, at least publicly. This is their way out.
Was Project Blue Book officially shut down because it had simply found no convincing evidence that UFOs were real? Or was it because the government had come to the opposite conclusion, that not only were they real, but of extraterrestrial origin? A truth that could be so potentially disturbing it needed to be covered up even deeper than before. As far as UFO researchers and ancient astronaut theorists are concerned, proof that the U.S. government has not only known about extraterrestrial activity on our planet, but has been systematically covering it up for decades, first came in the form of a single roll of 35mm film, anonymously sent to a documentary filmmaker by the name of Jamie Chandray in 1984. The film he developed showed images of an 8-page memo allegedly written in 1952 by the first director of the CIA, Roscoe Hillenkoetter, to President-elect Dwight Eisenhower. In it, Hillenkoetter informs Eisenhower of the existence of a top-secret government think tank that was originally set up by President Harry S. Truman in 1947. It was referred to in the memo as MJ-12, initials which stood for a far more mysterious group of men known as the Majestic 12.
The authorization to establish MJ-12 allegedly came from President Harry Truman on September 24, 1947. This was actually one day after the famous memo in which General Nathan Twining wrote a 3-page letter about these flying saucers to another general, talking quite explicitly about their characteristics, the fact that this was real, not visionary or fictitious. No one anywhere outside of this group is to know anything about UFOs, ETs, crash retrievers,
While the authenticity of the MJ-12 documents is still being debated, what is known is that in 1954, Eisenhower thought enough of the UFO phenomenon to order that a new secret military base be set up. Located 83 miles northwest of Las Vegas, Nevada, Area 51 would later become infamous as the most top secret military base in the world.
Area 51 is the secret base of the secret bases. For a long time, it was the place that we went to study foreign technology.
During the 1970s and 80s, T.D. Barnes worked at the secret base, reverse engineering captured enemy aircraft like Russian MiG jets.
What we considered reverse engineering was taking a plane or a radar, taking it apart, looking at the electronic, how they built it. We were all found by security oaths. We could not talk.
But is it possible that in addition to reverse engineering foreign fighter jets, Area 51 employees were also working on other out-of-this-world technologies?
To my mind, it's also clear that the U.S. government has had crashed extraterrestrial technology, and Area 51 would have been the perfect place to reverse engineer and test that particular information.
In order to ensure that the activities at Area 51 and elsewhere were kept hidden from the public, members of the military and even officers were sworn to secrecy. But luckily for UFO researchers and ancient astronaut theorists, not everyone involved was willing to keep quiet. Some became whistleblowers who risked everything from public scorn to imprisonment in order to let the public learn the truth. Washington State, June 24th, 1947. Aviator and businessman Kenneth Arnold witnesses 9 fast-moving objects flying in tandem near Mount Rainier. He times them as they fly between 2 mountain peaks and
我
calculates
浸咗
their
嘅
speeds
紙牌能走小烏車跟啊，
miles
北
per
京
hour.
紙牌到咗喺度排隊跟啊，北京響都不過你車啦，
Aircraft in existence at the
獨
time.
坑咧真係，
Kenneth Arnold is the guy
笨見晒。
is credited with coining the term flying saucer because what he saw were objects that were flying at some distance from his airplane that were sort of skipping and jumping and wobbling and doing very, very unusual high-speed maneuvers. So that's where the term flying saucer came from.
QTS
Although the U.S. Air Force formally categorized Kenneth Arnold's experience
貴
as
啊
a
陳
mirage,
嘅西蘭，
other reported sightings were not so easily dismissed. The public was starting to demand answers.
Once the initial sighting happened by Kenneth Arnold and the Roswell incident took place, there were sightings everywhere around the United States. They were happening all over the world.
In 1949, retired Marine Corps pilot turned writer Major Donald Kehoe was asked by True Magazine to
then-
write an article on these numerous sightings. Although Kehoe was a skeptic, he spent the next 8 months conducting his own research by tapping into his contacts in the Pentagon and the military. Eventually, he came to a conclusion he would have considered unthinkable. Flying saucers were not only real, they were of extraterrestrial origin.
Major Kehoe was one of the last real military voices from the time of the Truman administration going into the Eisenhower administration who was honestly trying to tell the truth.
Kehoe's article in True Magazine shook the nation. It was not only a
哇！
solid piece
真
of
係可以出
journalism
標
on
出
the topic
頂
of
個個真係
UFOs,
出，誒
but served as a stinging
你是吃
indictment
吃
of
豬
the
肉
US
長大的
military
，right？
and the government's determination to keep the public in the dark.
That True Magazine, it was historic because we drew a heck of a lot of people.
Then in 1958, Kehoe went on a program called The Armstrong Revealed, which was a live television program.
UFO, the enigma of the sky, on the Armstrong Circle Wheel. Major, you've seen our report on the Air Force conclusions dealing with reported UFO sightings.
Well, I was excited to hear that Kehoe was willing to debate the Air Force.
Well, I would like to make a disclosure, which is something which has never been revealed to the public.
Toward the end of the program, he broke in and said to the effect, I'm going to say something that the public has never heard before.
If the hearings are held open hearings, I feel to conclude beyond doubt.
At that point, his sound was lost.
What was Major Kehoe saying and who cut him off?
Thank you, Major Kehoe.
It was later discovered that Air Force officials had been stationed in the control booth during the broadcast, and there are many who still believe that Kehoe's audio was deliberately cut in order to keep him from revealing top top secret information concerning the government's ongoing